Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Schwa Mill, where every single Saturday at this time we help you craft your accent by listening to pronunciation files that you send us so we can help you sound even more natural in American English. I would like to walk you through the process in case this is your first time, so that way you can send in your pronunciation file today or in a future live stream. Again, we are here on Saturdays. Give me a moment to share my screen. I'm going to walk you through the entire process, and hopefully you'll see that it's relatively simple and painless to get us your files. Okay, let's adjust my light a little bit. Okay, so this is our document, which you can find in the video description. I'll also be sure to post this in the chat as well, but if you look at the video description, you'll be able to see this link just in case. 1 second. Keep an eye out for that document in case you want to send us your file. And basically, it's going to take you to this Google Doc. Inside of the Google Doc, you can see, we already have some files, which is great. It's going to direct you up top to a site called Vocaroo.com. Vocaroo.com is going to look like this. The first time that you go here, you're going to see a big red record button. You're going to press that, say whatever audio you would like to say. I recommend a sentence that you use in your daily life, even something like, how's it going? Or how are you? Then you're going to press save. It's going to give you a link. Take this link here, paste it into the document, and now we'll be able to hear you and give you suggestions for helping you sound more natural in American English. All you have to do is sit back and wait until we get to your file. Our goal is to try to get through everyone's files as best we can. Also, something I'm experimenting with today. If anyone would like a live review, if you are feeling brave today and you would like to join me on screen to get some pronunciation feedback for yourself instead of sending an audio file, you can take a look at this link I am posting here. So go to this link. It's going to send you into the room with me. We'll chat for a minute or so, and then I'll tell you some things I'm noticing about your speech with regards to pronunciation. So if you want something that's a little bit more personalized and that you can adjust and practice with me live, you can go to that link there. We could be on screen for a couple minutes together and talk about your pronunciation. I want to say some quick hellos before we go further. Hello to Emmanuel checking in. Good to see you. Who else we got? Hello to Shoke. Good to see you as well, Shoke. Thanks for stopping by. And also to Tib. Hello, Tib. Glad you can make the stream. See you in future ones as well. Other quick news before we move on. So something that we also do on the channel, but also just business-wise, we also have video courses and things like that. And I'm super excited to announce that one of our most recent ones that we did was called the Pitch Apprenticeship, where we took a look at how pitch is used in American English. It was a live session that was held on April 4th, where some students joined me on screen, including some students you might see here on the stream with me. And we did exercises related to American English pitch. If you're not sure what pitch is, think of it this way. See if you can go down on a sound 5 times, like this, 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 this. Or do the opposite. Maybe you can go higher. This, 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 this. These are just some quick examples of pitch. And you need pitch in American English to create separation between your sounds. A lot of people, when they're studying American English or when they're speaking in American English, they're not using as many pitches as they could. So the result is speech that can still be understandable and clear. However, it's also speech that doesn't exactly sound natural. So if your goal is to sound more natural in American English, one of the very first things you can do is start implementing more pitches into your speech. So we have a video course that is going to be released very soon. The actual release date, I'll be honest, I'm planning on releasing it this weekend. But I am going to give you the pre-sale price. If you ordered the class before April 20th, you can get the class for the $40 that originally was the course price for those who joined me online. After that, the price is going to go up. So again, this is your last chance to get the course that's going to explain for you Our goal, I can show you all the modules, is going to explain for you what pitch is. It's going to give you a range of pitch scale exercises. It's also going to give you lots of examples of the students who join me, so you can kind of hear the things that are working well, but you can also hear the things that maybe we need to make adjustments on. In addition to that, we're going to talk about some of the roles of pitch, why pitch is important in speech, some of its functions. The heart of the course is going to be that I have identified 9 pitch patterns that native speakers use in their speech that you can start implementing in your own speech as well. So these are 9 of the most common pitch patterns that American English native speakers are using. Guarantee you this is not something that you're going to find in other sources. This is also not information that you're going to see on the channel either. The only place you can get this right now is in this workshop. Additionally, we're going to listen to examples of non-native speaker speech and give some corrections and suggestions. One of the things that we'll find is that some people sound super, super natural already. They have breath, they have low placement, but something's missing. They sound a little bit flat. And so we talk about some of the solutions that can help them sound even more natural in American English. Also, just based on feedback from people who took the class, for those who sent in the feedback, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I've also added in 5 more extended examples from native speakers of some of the pitch patterns that we go over. Okay, so if you are interested in this, please take a look at my name, fluentamerican.com, right below, right there, and you can find out and purchase this course while it's still at the cheaper price for everyone, because I want to make sure everyone has that opportunity. Price is going to rise on April 20th. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in trying to improve, then I think that this is the best opportunity. You have not seen a pitch, any content on pitch like what you're going to experience in that class. I want to say some other quick hellos. Edward is joining us as well. Hello, Edward. And Emmanuel notes that he's still waiting on the release dates. It's coming soon. I'm hoping after class I have to teach you a little bit. My goal is to try to actually have it out tonight. But again, if you sign up for it, if you get the course before the 20th, you can get the cheaper price. All right, so once more, if you want to join me on screen to get some real quick, rapid feedback for yourself and your pronunciation, then this is how you're going to do it. Take a look at this link here. And I think that kind of wraps up everything on my end. Let's take a look now at the pronunciation files that you guys have sent me so we can start getting you some feedback. Oh, let me add myself there, right? Again, it's not little, it's more little.
The G host was class.
Are you feeling that here, or here? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and my sound with you so that way you'll be able to hear what I hear and see what I see. Take a look again at our document, and there is still plenty of time if you would like to send in your pronunciation files for review. We would love to have it. Okay, bringing this up. Let's also, real quick, we're going to try our best to remember timestamps. So our time right now is 8-minute mark in the stream. I'll pick at random here. Let's maybe start with something shorter.
Why are you laughing at him?
Okay, we can start with this one here. I will say the audio, I'm going to try to turn up my volume a little bit. Hopefully you guys can hear this one okay. And this was, I believe, I don't see the audio, so I believe the text that they said was this phrase here. I'm going to put it into the chat box. Let's see if that was what was said again. So it's the 3-second file.
Why are you laughing at him?
Okay, so why are you laughing at him? I feel like we had this file before, but
Why are you laughing at him?
Second review of it. Okay, so this is our phrase, and I already have some ideas on some things I'm going to say, but something I would also encourage you to do. Listen to this file. What sounds natural to you? What things do you think sound less natural?
Why are you laughing at him?
I really like the why are you part.
Why are you laughing?
Why are you? Why are you? I think that's a very natural progression. Like, why are you? So starting a little high on the why. You see this very often in questions where you start high, and then everything kind of goes down. So it's like 3 steps. Why are you? Why are you? And then, and by the way, before I even move on there, that's happening because we don't really have any stressed words. So we don't have, when we don't have stressed words, we're going to start that gradual progression down. It's like, why are you? Why are you? And then we're going to start hitting some stresses.
Why are you laughing at him?
Why are you laughing at him?
Why are you laughing at him?
So all of that movement that we're doing in that first half, why are you? Why are you? We're losing that in the second half.
Why are you laughing at him?
Laughing at him, laughing at him. So in that second half, what we're experiencing here is that we're not getting any of that movement. We're instead getting kind of the same pitch over and over again. Laughing at him, laughing at him.
Why are you laughing at him?
So my big suggestion is going to be, we need some more contrast. Instead of laughing at him, or laughing at him, laughing at him, or laughing at him, laughing at him. It all depends on what you're stressing. And I see Tim makes a note that I want to discuss in a moment. But for now, the problem is every single one of these words is a relatively high pitch. Every one of these words has a relatively high placement. And the result of that is it sounds like almost every single word is stressed. We don't actually have any even reductions really going on.
At him. Laughing at him.
Laughing at him, laughing at him, versus laughing at him. Why are you laughing at him? So that's going to be my first major tip, is just let's just try to add more contrast to this audio file.
Why are you laughing at him?
I see Tib makes the great observation. I hear Adam, and that's not necessarily a problem. So one of the things that we see when we have a linking is that because of linking, sounds are going to change. So instead of saying laughing at him, we hear laughing at him, laughing at him. So it's, if you hear Adam, the male name Adam, or if you hear at him as Adam, those are both fine. The reason this is happening is because that T is surrounded by vowel sounds. It's surrounded by that A sound, and then it's also surrounded by that M sound. M. Okay, it's like Adam. This is what happens when the T is surrounded by vowel sounds. It takes on a fast D. So that's why you're hearing Adam. And that's fine for this context. Like, for instance, another quick example of that would be the phrase, compare these two. Give you a moment to see these in the chat. How would you say these two phrases? If you ask an American English speaker to say these, there's a good chance that they're going to say hit it and hit it. Do you hear a difference? No, because it's the same thing. We have a T surrounded by those vowel sounds, so we're going to get a fast E for both. Hit it, Adam. That's perfectly fine. In fact, probably the least common way to say this, laughing at him, you're not really going to hear native speakers pronounce it that way. One final pronunciation tip for this file that comes up is that when you have a pronoun that starts with an H or a TH, very commonly in speech, those H's and TH's actually get removed. Not all the time, but it's a very common tendency for people. So instead of saying at him, it becomes Adam. Instead of saying know her, it becomes know her. Instead of saying serve them, it becomes serve them. And notice that serve them can actually mean serve them or can mean serve him. It all depends on context. Context is what makes things clearer. So there's lots and lots and lots of different possibilities here in terms of pronunciation. But again, my biggest suggestion for this file, we'll listen to it one more time.
Why are you laughing at him?
Why are you laughing at him? Biggest thing is going to be pitches, just to add more contrast. And I think that's going to have a huge impact.
Why are you laughing at him?
So that concludes our first bit of feedback here. Thank you so much for sending that. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks for leading us off today as well. And guys, if you're already getting value from that, one way that you can help me right now, like what you're hearing, let us know by liking and subscribing. So that was our first pronunciation file. We got a couple more to take a look at. We're going to try to add timestamps as long as Google Docs behaves. Sometimes it doesn't. Let's try 15. Take a look at our second file here. Do longer. Let's see what we have in this file here.
So I went running in the park yesterday, and I realized that I'm completely out of shape. Like last year, I could run for half an hour without any problem. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. And I guess my busy life is catching up with me.
Just a quick note on that last phrase, catching up with me. Instead of catching up with me, it's going to be catching up with me. Catching up with me. Just a note there. Thanks to Emmanuel for mentioning timestamps. I appreciate that. So again, pronouns typically are not stressed. They can be, but they tend not to be.
So I went running in the park yesterday. I guess my busy life is catching up with me.
You're catching up with me versus catching up with me. I guess my busy life is catching up with me. I think we're going to have some comments here about pitch as well, but let's kind of break it into smaller sections, starting with the beginning.
So I went running in the park yesterday.
So you're stressing yesterday. So I went running in the park yesterday. So I'm running in the park yesterday. And one of the things that, again, I think is not very common in American English pronunciation is stressing adverbs of time. So words like today, yesterday, last week, an hour ago. What typically is going to get stressed in these situations is probably going to be your verb or your object. And so to hear that yesterday,
So I went running in the park yesterday.
you can hear that in the park yesterday. So not only is your adverb of time getting stressed, that I think is a lot less frequent, it's also getting some pretty heavy stress because notice how low you're going on park.
So I went running in the park yesterday.
In the park yesterday. In the park yesterday. So that word yesterday is really, really popping. And I probably would have just stressed in this situation. So I'm running in the park. So I'm running in the park yesterday. So I would have stressed park. I went running in the park yesterday. So I went running in the park yesterday. I'm also trying to imagine, like, let's say this is a story you're telling to your friend.
So I went running in the park yesterday.
So I'm running in the park yesterday. So I'm running in the park yesterday. So I'm running in the park yesterday. So I'm running in the park yesterday. Yeah, I think park is going to be a much more natural stress, not only compared to yesterday, but also in comparison to some of the other words before it.
So I went running in the park yesterday.
You're also stressing running, I guess.
So I went running in the
So I went running in the park versus so I went running in the park. So I went running in the park yesterday. I think park is going to be your most likely stress in this situation, not going to lie. Besides that,
So I went running in the park yesterday.
I went running in the park yesterday. So I'm running in the I would also experiment a bit with placement here because I think your placement's tending to be a little high, especially just kind of listening to the voice register. So my recommendation would be take this sentence and just say it 5 times and try to go down a little bit each time. So I went running in the park yesterday. So I'm 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 running in the park yesterday. For a lot of people that try that exercise, I think a tendency I see with students is the third one down or the fourth one down tends to be a very natural place for placement.
So I went running in the park yesterday.
So I'm running in the park yesterday. So I'm running in the park yesterday. Something like that. Let's keep moving. Let me see. Oh, Edward's bringing up some great points. Edward knows that pronouns are usually stressed for contrast or emphasis, right? So again, those are slightly special situations. Also says it's the same thing for adverbs of time, exactly. Manuel makes a note that rising intonation on the last syllable yesterday, if there's more coming after. Yes and no, it depends on context, right? But yeah, a general tendency is going to be a rising intonation on yesterday. But just because it has a rising intonation does not necessarily mean you want it to sound stressed. So I'm running a park yesterday, or like something like that. We'll keep moving. How about the second part here?
I went running in the park yesterday, and I realized that.
Another thing too with thought. Let's just talk thought groups for a sec.
So I went running in the park yesterday.
With that long pause and then the breath. So I went running in the park yesterday. And do you hear that like pause and that breath?
So I went running in the park yesterday, and I realized that I'm completely out.
And I realized that. So I went running in the park yesterday, and something that I think you could do to help link your thought groups together, because right now they feel very detached. It's too perfect. If you ever heard the phrase like in English, like too on the nose, that means like you're saying something that's like it's too perfect for the situation. that it's actually not natural or it's too much of a problem. It's too expected. Something that I would really consider playing with is trying to link your thought groups more.
So I went running in the park yesterday, and
And so, for instance, what if the thought group ended on and? What if we took off that pause and we ended on and? So I went running in the park yesterday, and so I went running in the park yesterday, and so notice one that I'm not having that pause. Notice the second thing, I'm lowering the pitch on and. What that's going to do is it's going to join things together. So I'm running in the park yesterday, and I realized.
So I went running in the park yesterday, and I realized that
See how much more joined together my version is? It's just able to go from thought group to thought group a little bit more naturally. If you don't do that, what it's going to have the effect of, it sounds like you're reading. It doesn't sound like you're talking. It sounds like you're reading out loud something, like you're reading off a script. So this is something that's going to make it sound a little bit more natural. Another technique to join thought groups too is to extend the sound before you get to your next thought group, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Can you hear how I'm just holding the vowel sound a little longer? And that is a tool that, again, can help join things together. One final technique, Emmanuel has also mentioned it too, is that instead of having that breath, can you say that part without pausing for breath?
So I went running in the park yesterday, and I realized that
So instead of saying, so I'm running in the park yesterday, and I realized, can you do more? So I'm running in the park yesterday, and I realized, so instead of pausing for breath, I'm still on the same breath. So cutting out the number of times you're pausing to breathe can also help link things together. We have a video on that. We've talked about it in the past. So that's just something I would really try to experiment with. Try saying everything you need to say in just one breath. See how that goes. If that doesn't work, try to add a little bit more. Again, just kind of something for that. If you guys have some questions about anything so far, be sure to let me know. I just need to make a very quick edit about things. Okay, give me one sec. All right, going back to the audio file. Thanks for your patience there.
I'm completely out of shape. And I realized that I'm completely out of shape.
I'm completely out of shape. I'm completely out of shape. So this is again an opportunity where I think pitch is kind of becoming a bit of a distraction. Completely out of shape. It's not wrong what you're doing.
I realized that I'm completely out of shape.
I'm completely out of shape. I think that, especially if we're adding these like adverbs like completely, these are words that are strong. You don't need to say. You could just say, so I realized I'm out of shape. But you're not just saying that. You're saying I'm completely out of shape. So when we start adding these sorts of adverbs that add considerable emotional weight to our language, we need to make sure that they're getting that amount of emphasis. And I'm a little bit, I don't want to say nervous, but I'm a little bit disappointed. I don't know. Like we're missing a real big opportunity here. It's something that I think is really going to help this sound more natural is by putting the stress on completely. Take off the stress on shape.
Realize that I'm completely out of shape.
Completely out of shape. Completely out of shape. This would have been a great opportunity to expand our range of pitches because right now our pitch range is so limited. I'm completely out of shape. I'm completely out of shape. Which one is more engaging? Which one is conveying more of that sense of emotion?
Realize that I'm completely out of shape.
Realize I'm completely out of shape. So something that I often tell students is take your highs higher, take your lows lower. We need to exaggerate more if our goal is sounding more natural. Because this already sounds clear. But again, if you guys are with me right now, our goal is not clarity. Our goal is natural.
And I realize that I'm completely out of shape.
Completely out of shape. Completely out of shape. The other thing that's going to help here is that in addition to going higher on completely, again, take your highs higher, take your lows lower. Go lower pitch on shape. Completely out of shape. Completely out of shape.
Like completely out of shape.
Completely out of shape. Completely out of shape. My shape is lower, my completely is higher. Besides that, some other pronunciation things are happening here.
And I realized that I'm completely out of shape. And I realized that I'm park yesterday. And I realized that
I like that linking with and I with the really weak D sound. A lot of people are doing like and I. You know, somewhere and I. You know, it's a really soft D sound, which is great because that's going to help your vowels flow from one to the next. I like that.
Yesterday, and I realized that I'm completely out of shape. Like last year, I could run for half an hour without any. Realized that I'm completely out of shape.
Edward makes the note also for out of be often becoming outa. That's a very common reduction there.
Realized that I'm completely out of shape. Like last year, I could run for half an hour without.
Okay, so now this is going to sound contradictory to what I said earlier. So he's making a comparison.
Out of shape. Like last year, I could run for half an hour without any problem. But now even 20, I'm completely out of shape. Like last year, I could run for half an hour without.
Like last year, I could run for half an hour. Like last year, you know, I think last year, I know I just said this about adverbs of time, but now you're doing a contrast. You're comparing last year to now. And how do I, as a listener, know that you're going to make this comparison? Well, one of the things you can do to prepare your listener is actually raising the pitch on last year. Because again, adverbs of time are not usually stressed. So if I stress it, that's something that's slightly unusual. So I must be doing something unique when I do that. So if I raise the pitch, if I raise it higher last year, if I stress it, well, now I'm preparing my listener for the contrast because now my listener is going to be expecting, oh, you're going to compare last year versus right now. So to prepare me for that comparison, go higher on. Last year I could do this, but now I can't even do half of that. You know what I mean? So raising that pitch on last year, I think would have actually been kind of helpful.
I realized that I'm completely out of shape. Like last year, I could run for half.
Like last year I could run. You know, you're not really giving me a whole lot of contrast there. Like last year I could run. Last year I could run. It knows that's also going to make my whole speech a little bit more dynamic. Completely out of shape. Like last year, you're completely out of shape. Like last year. So we use a unique pattern, whether you're going higher, completely out of shape. Like last year, or completely out of shape, like last year, or go down. And this is just going to, again, expand our pitch range.
Like last year, I could.
I would also say I want to hear that ass sound on last.
Like last year, I could.
Last year. I do think your ass sound could get a little bit more ah. Something that can help with that is tensing your lips a little bit there. I see some questions coming in from Edward and Emmanuel asking a similar thing. I also see a question from Tib, which I'll get to after this file. Thanks for your patience. So people are asking about last year. How do you say it? I would definitely, this is a great phrase. I would put it into English. I think you're going to hear a variety of ways of native speakers saying it. One way would be last year. Another way you might hear is like last year with almost like a held T sound. And then another way would be with a ch sound. So last year. It's like cheer, just to know. So lots of different ways to link that. Again, Tib, I'll get to your question soon.
Like last year, I could run for half an hour.
Again, last year I could run. Like last year I could run. So you have two thought groups. Your last year has enough separation in how you're saying it that it's its own thought group. So then for your next one, I really would recommend, hey, go higher or go lower instead of giving me the same pitch. Last year I could run. Last year I could run. Last year I could run. You know, just mix up the pitch range a little bit more between thought groups.
I could run for half an hour without.
For half an hour. Last year I could run for half an hour.
Here, I could run for half an hour without any problem.
Without any problem. Without any problems. Any problems, fine. Any problems, I think you'll hear both, honestly. Other things there.
Last year, I could run for half an hour without any problem.
Last year I could run for half an hour. I want to hear hour.
I could run for half an hour without.
Half an hour. Last year I could run for half an hour. Like half an hour. Last year I could run for half an hour. Last year I could run for half an hour. Last year I could run for half an hour. You're stressing half.
Last year, I could run for half an hour without.
Half an hour. We've done a half an hour. I feel like in general, distress tends to fall more on hour. Maybe I would need to think more about it but the way I'm thinking of it right now in this moment, I would probably instead put the stress on hour just to know.
Problem. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle.
Very flat.
But now even 20 minutes is a struggle.
But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. Like, again, I want this to sound even more, I don't want to say human, but even more engaging, a little bit more dynamic, because it just sounds really flat. Especially because from a listener's perspective, just kind of feels contradictory to me, because you're throwing in this language that sounds very, it has a high emotional value, like with the completely or even. These are words that convey a lot of meaning, that express a lot. And when you're using them in your speech, the speech is just sounding so flat. So if we're going to use these adverbs, these pretty strong adverbs, then we also kind of need to earn them too. So we need to give them more space. We need to add more stress. This goes into the emotional aspect too, because otherwise, what's going to happen is it's just going to sound so flat. And I really think that's kind of something that we're running into right here.
But now even 20 minutes is a struggle.
But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. So that's how you're reading it. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. There's so many ways you could read that. Like, imagine you're saying this to a person. Like, man, when I was young, I could I could run for half an hour. Man, when I was young, I could run for half an hour. But now even like 20 minutes is a struggle. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways we can make this sound a much more animate, add a lot more emotion to this, a lot more engaging. And right now we're just kind of missing this. It sounds like we're reading.
But now even 20 minutes is a struggle.
Now even 20 minutes is a struggle. And there's lots of stress patterns you could do. You could stress 20. You could stress struggle. Now even 20 minutes is a struggle. You could add a stress on 20, and even 20 minutes is a struggle. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. Stuff like that. You could just struggle. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. Now even 20 minutes is a struggle. Like, there's so many ways you could go around this.
But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. And I guess my busy life is catching up with me.
We talked earlier about the busy life catching up with me.
This is a struggle.
I want to talk really quick about struggle.
But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. But now even 20 minutes is a
You can hear a little bit on minutes, turning a little bit into minutes, 20 minutes.
But now even 20 minutes is a
20 minutes, 20 minutes. I think your placement's going high on 20 on the E sound, and then that's carrying over to minutes.
But now even 20 minutes is a
20 minutes versus 20 minutes. So watch out for that E sound, keeping the placement low. Watch out for the short I on minutes.
But now even 20 minutes is a struggle. But now even 20 minutes is a struggle.
And it's also carrying over to is a little bit too. 20 minutes is, 20 minutes is, 20 minutes is. Just trying to lower the placement and get more breath through.
And I guess but now even 20 minutes is a struggle.
Struggle. I also think the placement's high on struggle too, which isn't surprising. It's really hard when you're talking. If the placement jumps up, it's really hard to bring it down again. You could say the sentence perfectly, but the minute you get things high, it can be difficult to bring things down again. So just kind of watch out for that, because that whole section there sounds a little high to me. 20 minutes is a struggle versus 20 minutes is a struggle. Watch out also for that schwa sound and that dark L, trying to be more struggle. That's a ton of information there. I hope you guys found that helpful. One way you can let me know, again, is like what you're hearing. Let us know by liking and subscribing. Okay, but thanks to Sycamore for sending that file. We greatly appreciate it. Also, a quick reminder too, guys, if you want to join me on screen and get your pronunciation analyzed with me live right now, if you're feeling brave and courageous, you can go to this link. Check it out. You don't need to download a thing. Let's get to Tibbs' question here. How do you know which words need to be emphasized, pitched, stressed? Does it happen subconsciously for native speakers? How non-native speakers train this skill? It happens naturally for everyone. Even you have your own pitch patterns, right? In your own language. English is stress time, but all languages, that I know of have some form of stress. It may not affect your rhythm exactly the same way as it does in American English, but you need some way of adding emphasis to a word. So how do you know which words need to be emphasized? A part of this is that there's less subjectivity to this. It's all dependent on context. Context is always going to be your number one factor when you're learning a language, right? Like, context determines, you could have the same sentence said 5-10 different ways. One way you can kind of practice this is, for instance, you can do exercises where you take a sentence of a couple words, like, I didn't know you were here. I didn't know you were here. I'm stressing here. I didn't know you were here. Now I'm stressing I, because I want to emphasize that it was me. I didn't know. I didn't know you were here. Well, now I'm stressing you because I want to emphasize that. I didn't know you were here. Like maybe I need to clarify for were and things like that. So again, there's so much subjectivity to this. Some general patterns that you can use are, in general, if you have a phrase and you're not sure which word to stress, English wants to stress the last major content word. Your content words are adjectives like big or tall. Your content words are nouns like boy, table. Your content words are verbs like play or run. Your content words are adverbs like really or naturally. These are basically your words that convey the most meaning. Words that are not stressed are called function words. These are words that you need them grammatically, but don't really convey a whole lot of meaning by themselves. For instance, like prepositions like in or on, articles like or an or the. Other words, for instance, prepositions, articles, pronouns. We talked about this earlier, like me, you, I. So again, these are words that tend not to be stressed. So again, in a sentence, you're not sure what to stress. Stress the last major content word. That's the general neutral guide. It's hard because there is no real neutral situation, but that's the general neutral rule. I will also say that very often verbs do not get stressed unless there's no other option. Like if a verb's followed by like a pronoun or things like that, in those situations, you'll stress your verb. But in general, it's not a word that you stress. If you have a verb and an object, you almost always stress the object. Verbs very typically do not get stressed. And asking about how you train this skill, well, your most valuable practice is probably just going to be shadowing. And for instance, if you guys look at our homepage for the Schwa Mill or Fluent American, you'll see that we've created a channel just for shadowing, and you guys can feel free to check that out. It's just shadowing. That's all it is. I've taken audio from public domain native speakers talking, and you can listen to them and practice doing what they do. So just try and shadow. Hey, can you shadow 2 minutes a day? Great. Can you shadow 5 minutes a day? Great. Do what you can. Can you shadow 30 seconds? Great. But just something a little bit every day, because over time you'll get the rhythms and the patterns into your head. So that's the big goal. Thank you so much to Emmanuel for posting the link there. So you can go there for our shadowing channel. Sycamore was here. Sycamore's picture, a sycamore tree. That's great. Greatly appreciate the feedback. Thank you. We appreciate you sending the audio file. Okay, I want to see what our next file is. Okay, let's take another peek at some more pronunciation. What time are we at? 7. All right, going to share my screen and my sound once more. Oh, and I do see just a quick note. Hello to Elchin. Thanks for stopping by again. Good to see you. Welcome back. And Sycamore also asked a question. Sycamore was our last file that we listened to. I told you earlier I'm working on making my voice a bit deeper. How would you rate it currently? It sounded very similar to the previous files. I still think the placement's a little high. It definitely, earlier in the feedback, I gave some examples of an exercise that you can do to lower placement. So I would play around with that to see if that helps. It's towards the beginning of the feedback. Oh my gosh. Let's see who's here.
Hi.
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 How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm chilling.
Good.
Good to see you, Shook. I know you sent me a file too. So, Shok, did you have a pronunciation
Yes.
question or something that you would like to say to me?
Mm, I don't know. Like, how do you see, in general, how is my pronunciation?
That's a good question. Shok, let's do this. Can you give me a quick description? Tell me a little bit about your apartment or your house. Just tell me a little bit about where you live.
I live in a villa. And it has some rooms and I stay in a room alone.
Mhm.
Usually we stay in the living room. Like this one is the living room. It's, I don't know, decorative a little bit.
It looks very
Mm,
nice. It looks super
that's it.
sophisticated. Cool.
Mm,
Also, Shook, everyone is super happy to see you. Emmanuel says hey. Edward says
I,
hey. Okay, Shook, I have a couple of quick things I want to bring to your attention. Okay. Um,
okay.
some quick sentences I want you to say for me. Can you say for me the sentence, I live in a villa?
I live in a villa.
Can you say villa for me? Villa. If you can hear me okay. Can you say villa for me? Villa, villa, villa. I'm going to give her a quick second and see if the connection builds up. Because what I'm hearing for villa, what I was hearing there is like it feels, I think the V is very strong. And I would really try to get a little bit more weight onto the short I sound. So instead of villa, 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 more vil. Or maybe just ve. I'd maybe even just start off with that. Do like just practice that vowel, eh. And then after that, add ve. And then do vil. And then add the last part, villa. So ve, villa.
Sorry, the connection.
No, it's all good. We're
I
here.
changed
This
the
is much
room.
smoother. Shok, did you paint that behind you?
No, it's actually we bought it. Do you want
Okay.
to see the room? This is
Yeah,
the
show
room.
me what we got. Oh, Shok, you fancy. Look how fancy you are. Oh my gosh.
This is the other one that I stayed in.
How many people live here? My God, you could have like 30 people here.
No, just my family. My I came actually to my aunt's house. So, but our house is similar like this one. So all the
Got you.
people like this.
Shok,
So yeah.
Shok, do you have a pet lion? All my Saudi students used to have pet lions. Do you have a pet lion?
Actually, no, but the neighbors sometimes they bring it. You know, it passed by to the it
Oh
passed
my
by
gosh.
to the villa, so I see it. You know,
Got
like,
you. That's great. Okay. So Shok, I have a couple quick
yes.
things for you. So I was mentioning the word villa. Can you say villa again for me? Villa.
Villa.
Hold your vowels longer. Can you say Hold that schwa a little longer. Yeah. Can you say villa?
Villa. Villa.
Hold your short I longer. It's too fast. Villa. Villa.
Villa. Villa. Villa.
Yeah, I really liked your second one. That second one there was much more open. I like that a lot more. Okay.
Okay.
I have another little phrase that I want you to say. Can you say, I stay in a room?
I'm in a room.
Can you say again? I stay in a room.
I stay in a room.
Okay. Stress room for me. I stay in a room.
I stay in a room.
Yeah, I like that one much smoother. I like your room better. I like that ooh sound much more. I like your linking with the inna. Good. And I have one last thing for you to say. Can you say for me living room?
In living room.
Better, because originally what I was hearing some rolling on that ng sound linking with that r. It's like ing room, living room.
Living room. Living room.
Keep the stress on living, not on room. Living room.
And living room.
That was really good. I really like how you said room. Room was really good. I like those vowels. Cool.
Thank you.
Shok, any other questions for me?
Yes, how to be like your pronunciation, like
as in like how to sound like me?
yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
I like it. So,
Thank you. Oh, that's so Shok's so sweet. Thank you, Shok. I appreciate that. All right, I'm gonna give you an answer, and I'm gonna let you go. Okay. But thank you so much for joining me, Shok. It's always good to see you. I appreciate you. I see you
Thank
everywhere.
you.
She's great. Thank you, Shok. I'll see you soon. So Shok was asking, how do you sound like me? I mean, so a couple of quick tips. So, yeah, again, what I think really separates what we're doing here with compared to other American English pronunciation channels, also just some things Shok could pay attention to if people really like in your place, Shok, or your aunt's place. Tim, it was not a joke, man. Tim needs to meet some more Saudis, man. What they have some questions about how old is the lion cub? That is great. So again, what I think really separates our channel from other pronunciation channels out there, and this is an answer to Shok's question, believe it or not, is how do you sound like me? I think there's 4 key things. The first thing is related to placement, is trying to project from a lower position. When you guys hear me speaking, you hear a lot of resonance in my speech. Big thanks to Shok, as noted by Emmanuel. That is 100% true. It's not easy to come online, in front, especially if you're not used to it and things like that. So I greatly appreciate it. And guys, also look how painless it was. That wasn't horrible, right? She survived. If you guys want to jump on screen, look earlier in the chat if you want some quick feedback with me. But so the very first thing again I would say is placement, trying to keep your placement relatively low, trying to keep it open. Okay, that's the second thing is breath. When you hear me talking, you hear a lot of resonance. Do you hear that ooh, you hear that low resonance? So what I'm doing is I'm engaging my diaphragm to make sure that enough air is moving through. So the second tip has 2 parts. You're trying to let as much air through your throat as possible. Imagine your throat's like this big. And then the second part of that is trying to engage your diaphragm, because a lot of people, when they speak in American English, they're really just using their lungs or their chest. Okay. So that's the second thing. The third thing is about pitch. Listen to the notes that I gave for some of these audio files. I think for everyone, I mentioned pitch. We need contrast. So trying to make sure we're using a wide enough range of pitches. And some of those examples that we had, for instance, from Shok's speech. So for instance, I live in a villa. I live in a villa. Live in a villa. Or for instance, I stay in a room. I stay in a room. Stay in a room. Going higher pitch on that. Or living room. So in that case, we have a compound noun. So I need to put the higher pitch earlier in the first word. Living room. So these are all techniques that you can use to start achieving a more natural sound. All of this is really, really key. So what I would also say is that, again, if you're interested in especially pitch, we have a workshop on that is honestly about to go up in price. So I'd love for you guys to be able to get it at a cheaper price while it's still available at a cheaper price. Again, it's called our Pitch Apprenticeship. If you go to fluentamerican.com, you can see my name down here and go to that website. And it's going to allow you to specifically study pitch. It's a huge component of your speech. Okay. So that's the third thing. And then the last thing is trying to weaken your consonant sounds and strengthen your vowel sounds. We saw that with Shok right now. Shok saying, thanks for all the positive words. It was great having her. Sycamore also just knew her voice so far. Shok's actually appeared in a couple other little videos we've had just around the channel, some old ones. She's super great. But the last thing again is trying to emphasize vowel sounds over consonant sounds. We saw that in Shok's speech. So for instance, in villa, So if you're saying villa, villa, what's happening there is I'm getting a strong V sound and a strong L sound, like vil versus vel. So now I'm opening things up. I'm getting more emphasis on that sound, that L sound, and that's giving me a more natural sound as well. So those are the four components. If you're trying to sound more natural in American English, do those 4 things. If you want more practice with all of those 4 things, we talk about this in different videos around the channel, but you're maybe like, Jeff, I don't know you have so many videos. I don't know which videos to target on for those things. It's a lot of content. Okay, fine. I have something to make that easier too. We also have a course called 4-Step Accent. It literally talks about all those points. Literally talks about them. And it's available at a price that's cheaper than the amount of lessons it would take me to teach you individually. Take the video course, it gives you all sorts of suggestions and things like that. But look, it's going to teach you about breath, placement, pitch, and vowel sounds. So those are the 4 components. Again, if you go to fluentamerican.com, that are all available. I'm not making courses just like to get rich. I'm doing courses because I think these things are valuable, and I think that you do these steps is going to give you a more natural accent. Whew, that is a lot. I need a water break, but if you want to help me out, like what you're hearing, let us know by liking and subscribing. All right, let's take a listen to more files. Shall we? Who's next? Got a 5-second file here.
Hey, how's it going? Are you guys going to make it for Joseph party tomorrow?
Okay, let's play that again.
Hey, how's it going? Are you guys going to make it for Joseph party tomorrow?
Okay, I want to hear really quick the ending.
For Joseph party tomorrow?
I'm hearing Joseph party versus Joseph's party. We need a little bit more of that S sound. Grammatically, we have to have that. Otherwise, this is not grammatically going to be correct. You need the possessive. And I think maybe it's there, but it's just hyper reduced. We need that S sound to stand out a lot more. You're going to make it to Joseph's party tomorrow? You're going to make it to Joseph's party tomorrow? Okay. Okay, but besides that.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how? Hey, how? I would maybe, again, encourage a little bit more contrast in pitch here.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's? Hey, how's? Very close in pitch. Like, hey, how's it going? Like, hey, how's it going? Like, just taking the how's just a little bit lower just to add more separation with the hey. Like, hey, how's it going? Another thing, too, is that when we talk about contrast is not just about pitch. It's about all kinds of things. We talked about this in previous streams before, but contrast is about pitch, but it's also about volume. Like, hey, how's it going? You can switch up the volume of what you say. Another way you can add contrast, though, is by speed.
Hey, how's it going? Are you guys going to make it for Joseph party tomorrow?
Everything you're saying here is spoken at a relatively rapid speech. In fact, I think it's even probably faster than a lot of native speakers would say it, and that's not a good thing. Okay. In fact, just from being an IELTS examiner, I can tell you that. I'll put it this way: if you take the IELTS test, one of the grading criteria is called fluency and cohesion. And for fluency, if you talk too fast, your score is going to be a band 6 on that category. So just by talking too fast. So talking fast does not make you sound more natural. And I know it sounds against how a lot of language learners feel. I was there in my own language learning background. You hear native speakers talk in a language and you're like, oh, native speakers always talk fast, so I need to talk fast too, and that's going to make me sound more natural. It's not true. That's just not true. It's something that I think every language learner kind of goes through at some point, and then you learn that, oh, that's not actually the thing that's going to make me sound better. So there's all kinds of things we could do. We could slow down the hey, for instance.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? See, I'm dragging out the hey to take up more time. So that's my first thing is I would like more contrast here with pitch. I think you can also experiment with adding more contrast by mixing up your speed because it's just moving a little bit fast.
Hey, how's it going? Are you guys going to make it for Joseph party tomorrow?
Are you guys going to make it? Are you guys going to make it?
Are you guys gonna make it for?
Are you guys?
Are you guys gonna make it for?
Are you guys going to make it? Something sounding a little high in placement there.
Are you guys gonna make it for?
Make it. I think it's make. So I would ask you if you sent this file. How do you say make? Make. Because my guess is that if you're saying it like you did in this file, you're probably saying make, make. Are you guys going to make it? Are you guys going to make it? Are you guys going to make it? This is something that we've talked about in a recent video talking about diphthongs. You can take a look on the channel. So what I would say is that for diphthongs, I know that the way a lot of languages teach it is that when you have a diphthong, you know you're going to have movement in your sound. And what that does is what very often happens is it raises your placement. Okay, it's like A or like I or like O and like things like that. And you can hear that tension at the end. A, I, O versus in American English, what I think is much more common with diphthongs is that instead what's going to happen is you're actually just going to treat it as a one sound. So we're actually going to limit the movement and we're going to combine the two vowels into a single sound. So instead of saying A, it becomes A. Instead of I, it becomes I. Instead of O, it becomes O. And this all depends on context and things like that, just a note. But what I would say is that in general, especially if you're saying a word that's like not stressed or you're not adding extra emphasis on, you can really just treat the diphthong as a single sound. The thing you want to be especially mindful of is trying not to raise the placement towards the end of the vowel sound, because again, a lot of people are doing a, I, and things like that. A, I. So just a note there, because I think on make we're going a little high on that placement.
You guys gonna make it for Joseph party tomorrow?
Another pattern. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but pitches.
Hey, how's it going? Are you guys gonna make it for Joseph party tomorrow?
Are you guys going to make it for Joseph Party tomorrow? Are you guys going to make it for Joseph Party tomorrow? Are you guys going to make it for Joseph's Party tomorrow? Again, watch out for Joseph's Party tomorrow. Are you guys going to make it for Joseph's Party tomorrow? Are you guys going to make it for Joseph's Party tomorrow? So like just adding more contrast. So let's do maybe two thought groups. Are you guys going to make it? You guys going to make it?
Gonna make it for Joseph party. And are you guys gonna make it for?
Are you guys going to make it? Are you guys, because you're kind of breaking off on two thoughts groups there.
Are you guys gonna make it for?
Are you guys going to make it? Are you guys going to make it? Are you guys going to make it? So I would just had one thought group there instead of two. Are you guys going to make it? Versus, are you guys going to make it? Are you guys going to make it? Are you guys going to make it? There's one thought group. And then as you move to the second thought group, change the pitch. Go higher or go lower. Are you guys going to make it for the party tomorrow? Are you guys going to make it for the party tomorrow? You guys going to make it for the party tomorrow? Like, those are the two options, right? Are you guys going to make it for the party tomorrow? Are you guys going to make it for the party tomorrow? Just experimenting with those ranges on your thought groups, just a note. Other things?
Hey, how's it going?
I do like that you have a lot of breath coming through here. Like, hey, how's it going? Super linked, super reduced in things. And again, adding that contrast is just going to take this to the next level.
Are you guys gonna make it for Joseph party tomorrow?
For Joseph's part, are you stressing tomorrow?
Make it for Joseph party tomorrow?
Joseph's party tomorrow? Joseph's party tomorrow? You can experiment with that. Tomorrow, it's okay. It could be stress. You could also stress party. Party's probably without stress. Are you guys going to make it Joseph's party tomorrow? Just a note there. But lots of feedback, again, especially on pitches and adding contrast. Thank you so much for sending that file. We appreciate it, as always. See, so I know some things have appeared in the chat, and I want to make sure we have time to talk about the... what do we got here? Tib makes a note that I have that problem in my native language too. Fast speech. Need to fix it. Thank you for the feedback. For sure. Thank you, Tib. Good to see you again back in the stream. What I would say again is, again, depending on native language and things like that, one of the tools that even some people in American English will talk fast, but talking fast can work, again, if you have enough contrast and things going on. It's just kind of something to keep in mind there. Oh no, this is... Finn sends us the sad face. You didn't go through my audio last stream. It's true. I did not. I'm sorry. It's hard when we have guests because a lot of times when we bring in guests, we have discussions regarding pronunciation that I think are valuable for the viewers. And what I hope is that, even during a stream, unfortunately, I can never guarantee we're going to get through everyone's files. I can never guarantee that because it all depends on the files that people send and the sorts of feedback I need to give that I think will be most beneficial. I don't want to cut someone's feedback short necessarily because I think the things that we discuss for even one person's pronunciation file, I hope you're also applying to your own speech. When we're listening to files, imagine it's your file. So even if we don't get to your file, there are still so many lessons that you can start applying to your own speech. Guarantee you. Because let's be honest, the feedback I've given for instance, the last 3 or 4 files we've done today, what have they all talked about? They have all talked about placement. They have all talked about pitch. They have all talked about contrast. So what we're seeing, and they have all come from different nationalities. So what we are seeing is that this is not an accent issue that is just for your specific language. These are accent things that are coming up regardless of language. So even if we don't get to your pronunciation file, my apologies if that happens. My goal is that you get through as many as I can. We only have a set amount of time. Hope you guys can understand that. Especially if you're looking for specific feedback for you, that's why we have the services. That's literally why we have that stuff, to give you specific feedback. You know what I mean? But otherwise, I'm here to help and give my best suggestions, but we're under time constraints. And I think the discussions that we bring up are valuable for everybody. So just a note on that. So it's kind of sorry, but like not sorry, because it's like, we're doing things that I think are helpful. But, I do my best. I do try to get to everyone's feedback. I do hope, Finn, that you continue sending us files because I would like to get to them. I think you sent a file today. I'm going to try to get through it today. Oh, really quick. Manuel says, slow down, otherwise you get a ban. And you definitely don't want that to happen. Question. How many thought chunks are enough in a sentence? Hope you have enough time to answer this. Thank you for asking. It's a great question. How many do you want? There's a million ways to do this. Like, for instance, I don't know. Well, that is one thought group. I don't know. I'm stressing no. I don't know. Well, now I have 2 thought groups. I don't know. Now I have 2 thought groups, right? I don't know. Well, now I have 3 thought groups. So it's the same sentence, but they each have different thought group numbers, right? So, I think you need to kind of, depends on context. I wish I could give you a great answer, but the reality is there is no answer, which is very liberating, but it's also very frustrating, and I get that. But it's the joys of pronunciation. Thanks for asking the questions, Beta. Another question from Edward. How do you pronounce Joseph's party? Joseph's party, Joseph's party, Joseph's party. I need to make sure that Joseph's ends with something that resembles a s sound. Otherwise, if it just becomes Joseph party, Joseph party, Joseph party, that's just not correct. It's just not. There's a grammatical error there. So you need to make sure that the S comes through. Okay? Okay. Finn makes a note that their audio disappeared. It was in Doc's last stream. Lost the link because it's not there anymore. So it was in the previous stream. So you'd like to use the same one as last time? Let's see if I can load it. I probably already migrated it to the previous files, Finn. Joseph's party. Do you drop? Edward asks for Joseph's party. You need a real quick F sound, just a real light one, just to know. I'm checking to see if I have Finn's audio saved in the document. Bear with me, guys. While we're taking a look at that, question from Lucin. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. No more more fake friends. Is it no more fake friends or more fake friends? Lucin, do you want more fake friends or no more fake friends? Which one are we going for? But I have a lot of problems about using used to, get used to, the be used to. For sure, they are all very similar, but have very different meanings, right? Give me 1 second, and I'll be happy to do my best to answer that. I'm in the wrong sheet. see if I have Finn's file. Okay, I think I have Finn's file here, unless it would. Okay. Okay, Finn, I believe I was able to find your file, so we'll take a look at it. But again, guys, we're always under time constraints. There's always the chance when you submit files that we won't get to them. And again, if you're looking for specific feedback for yourself, that's literally why we have all of our other options in terms of services. This says, okay, used to. So really quick, used to means that you did something in the past and you no longer do it. Like I used to run every day. Now I don't. Okay, so again, a regular past action. Get used to means that you've adjusted to something. Like when I first moved to Canada, it felt really cold to me. But now I'm used to it. Or I got used to it. I got used to it. It doesn't bother me anymore. I've adjusted. Okay, so get used to, adjusted. You can say get used to and adjusted. They look really similar, right? Used to. Get used to, get adjusted. It's the same kind of idea there. And then to be used to is actually kind of similar to that regard. To be used to something means that you've, again, also adjusted to it. Like I'm used to cold weather. I got used to cold weather, so now I'm used to cold weather. I went through that adjustment period, so now I am used to cold weather. So those are the big things there. So used to and get used to very similar. Just used to by itself means that you did something in the past, but no longer. Hopefully that helps. Tib asked another question. Back to audio files. Do you have a TikTok channel or go live on TikTok? TikTok users need your content. That's a great question. I do not have a TikTok. I have an Instagram that I use super sparingly. I'll be honest. When do people have time to do this stuff? Guys, I'm a one-man team, guys. Like just to make sure people are clear. Like if you ever see me like not posting stuff, it's either because I'm sick for whatever reason, or my allergies are destroying me. This week has not been a good week for allergies. It's allergy season. Happy allergy season, everyone. Or I'm taking care of my son. So for instance, this past week, my son was on spring break, which means that, normally he's in preschool for a little bit of the day, which means that during that it amounts to basically 2 hours where I can work on stuff in addition to the evenings. That's when I can work on stuff, or I'm doing it in the evenings after I'm done teaching. I think right now the big thing is just time. I would love to have more time to spread out across all the different platforms, but that's just not the season that we're in right now, because I have to take care of my son, during the day, and then in the evenings I teach, and then all the content that you see on the channel is basically coming out in the evenings when I'm done teaching. It's basically 9 o'clock at night through midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning is when I'm getting stuff out for you guys. So one day when he's in school more, maybe we'll explore other platforms. But right now, I'll be honest, I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time to do other platforms. It's hard enough for me to get content out on Facebook, let alone the YouTube channel. So yeah. Finn makes a note. Kind of scared of showing up in a clip video. I preferred if I didn't end up in a video. Finn, I'm not going to lie, man. You're putting me in some difficult positions right now. So let's just have like a real talk just for a moment, guys. And Finn, if it comes off as I'm angry at you, I'm not angry. Okay, but we also need to kind of go through some realities, right? So, cool. So this is Saturdays. Saturdays, I could spend the whole day teaching, right? Working directly with students, because one of the things that I just explained my schedule, right? So one of the things with my schedule is that I'm not available all the time. My teaching hours are very limited because I can do it in the evening when my wife's at home, she can watch my son, or I can do it on weekends, right? So this is the time when I can support myself, right? And instead, I enjoy, my goal isn't to make money. My goal is to help as many people with pronunciation as possible, because I know what it's like, especially if you are a person, and I don't know if this is your guys' specific context, but my context, when I was more into language learning, I was living abroad and constantly getting comments from people about my pronunciation. And that's cool the first time, that's cool the 10th time, but you start hearing the same comments over and over again, that gets old really fast, right? So I don't want you guys to go through my experience. I don't think that's not. But when you're learning a language, you have enough things to worry about. The last thing you need is people constantly commenting about how you talk, right? So part of the reason when I do this show, and in fact I started, it's on a new channel. These streams are not monetized. There's no ad revenue. If I wanted them to be monetized, they would be on my main channel, and there would be ads, like every 5 minutes or whatever, right? But I'm not doing that because I'm trying to help as many people as I can, and I think this is valuable content. If you guys think this is valuable content, you can show me by, again, liking, let other people know what we do. But there's a trade-off, right? So like when I'm doing this is time that instead of helping to bring in income for my family, I'm helping people here. And I enjoy it. I like doing it. I understand the trade-off and I accept it. But the issue I have is then when, I'm doing this thing to help people, and then people come in and they get upset or a little frustrated when it's like, oh, well, you didn't look at my file, or, oh, I'm sending my file, but I want you to do this with it, but I don't want you to do this with it. It's like, here's one thing you can do, here's one thing you can't do, And this is also at the same time when we have literal services available where if you're worried about those sorts of things happening, you can do them. If you're worried about your content appearing in other places, that's why we have classes. That's why we have Mission English. That's why we have a Telegram. I literally have a group on Telegram where for the cost of coffee, you can get feedback from me every single day of the week. And so to have comments come in here being like, oh, well, I'm going to send audio, but don't do this with it. Okay. Understand that. Where do I have it? Where do I have it? I will show you where I have it. I make it clear for everyone. Please note the audio may be used in future videos. It is right there. It's in red. It's right below the directions. It's literally right there. So if I'm willing to make a sacrifice for me and my family, then I would hope that if you're sending us audio files here, you're going to be willing to make a sacrifice for me. In that the audio that you send, let's work together on it. And the feedback that is for you, but that's the other thing too, is the feedback's not just for you. The feedback's for everybody, because like I said earlier, we've looked at how many files already? 4 files, 5 files, and the same issues keep coming up: pitch, placement, linking, breath. It's the same things over and over again. So like you're by not allowing or not wanting that to happen with your own audio file, you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting other people too, because you're not allowing people that are having the same issue as you get feedback. You know what I mean? This is a collaboration. Like, for instance, I don't know if you ever heard like the expression, like in a class, like if you have a question and if you're taking a class and you have a question, ask the question. Because if you have the question, there's probably 100 other people that have the same question. It's never just you. It's never just you. This isn't an instructional moment for you. I'm not just helping you when I give you feedback. This is a communal kind of thing. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of something to consider. Okay. So and again, Finn, I'm not yelling at you. I just want to make sure we're aware of the realities of things. Okay. This is what's happening. Nothing is free. Everything comes at a cost in some way. So we have to make the judgment call in any decision that we make about what are the effects, what are the results of what we do. Everything has a consequence, and that's okay. And again, I really can't emphasize I am not mad at you, Finn. I really I am not mad. I just want to make sure everyone's aware of the what's going on. Cool. This is not I am not mad. I promise you I am not mad. If I were mad, you definitely would know. It takes a lot to make me angry. But let's also understand what's going on. I appreciate people bringing up kind words and things. Okay. But Finn, we're going to take a listen to your audio. I think it's the one I found. That's a reshare. And thanks to everyone's coming out of the woodwork with this. Thanks to everyone for the kind words. Yeah. Oh shucks, guys, you guys are too sweet. Okay, let's take a look at some things. Next file, we're going to try to find Finn's. Do my best not to cut this. Finn, you can let me know if this is your file.
How do you guys feel about grammar? I feel like when I'm learning a language, it's like the...
Okay, let me know if that's the right one. If it's the wrong one, let me know, and I'll keep looking in the document. Sometimes files get mixed up. I don't want that to occur. I'll be honest, this is a long one. This is almost a minute long. Okay. Cool. Understand? That's your choice. This is the right one. Okay. I will not cut this. I will not use this in another video. Okay. But I do want to make sure we get you some feedback because you sent something last time and I didn't get to it.
How do you guys feel about grammar?
How do you guys feel about grammar? How do you guys feel about grammar?
How do you guys feel about grammar?
Again, you have some opportunities for pitch. This sounds to me like I want you to imagine that this sounds to me almost like you're giving a presentation in school. And like you step up to the front of the class, you have your PowerPoint behind you, and you're about to start. And you say, how do you feel about grammar? So I think this is fine. And I think this is how probably like 90 to 95% of people start presentations.
How do you guys feel about grammar?
But I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel like when you're giving presentations or when you're leading people. I don't want to be like 90 to 95% of people. I want to stand out. I don't want to give a presentation. I want to give you the best presentation you're going to hear today. That's just my goal. I don't know if I'll reach it, but you better believe I'm going to do everything I can to give you the best presentation. And I think that if you start a presentation off this way.
How do you guys feel about grammar?
I think the sounds are okay. I like your linking. I think you have breath. I think it flows.
How do you guys feel about grammar?
How do you guys? Cool. Everything's linked. Everything's fluid. But I also think that if you give, and this is also, native speakers are guilty of this as well. This is not just that. But I don't know about you, but if I'm sitting in class through a student presentation and someone starts a presentation this way, I'm already going to start falling asleep.
How do you guys feel about grammar?
How do you guys feel about grammar? Because you don't sound particularly excited about the thing you're going to talk about. So if you don't sound excited about it, as a fellow student or the person listening to you, why should I feel excited about it? Like, how do you guys feel about grammar? You know, like, hear the difference there? How do you guys feel about grammar? How do you guys feel about grammar? Hear the difference there? I'm trying to engage you more.
How do you guys feel about grammar?
So the things that I'm doing, I'm going a little higher on how. I'm also going higher in pitch on grammar. How do you guys feel about grammar? So very similar to what we mentioned earlier. Highs higher, lows lower.
How do you guys feel about grammar?
Highs higher, lows lower. How do you guys feel about grammar? How do you guys feel about... See, I'm dragging it down now. Grammar. And then I take it back up again. How do you guys feel about grammar?
How do you guys feel about grammar? I feel like when I'm learning a language, it's like the...
Okay, so I do like this part. So now we're embracing some of those lower pitches, right?
I feel like when I'm learning a language, it's like the...
I feel like when I'm learning a language, it's like I like that part, doing that gradual decline. Good.
Like my favorite thing to do is just like sit there and study grammar for a while. Which it's like my favorite thing to do is just like...
Want to hear do again?
Like my favorite thing to do is just like...
That D sound is very heavy, and your U sound is like do. My favorite thing to do versus my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do. So I do think on your... I don't know if it's the U sound or if it's the D sound or the linking of them, but something there I think is causing things to kind of tense up and close off. and that's something that I would really try to get more open, kind of like the previous what you did earlier.
Like my favorite thing to do is just like sit there and study grammar for a while.
Just sit there and study grammar for a while. Okay, I'm okay with that. I like the movement.
Like I see just like people fucking hate it actually, I think. Like they don't like looking at rules and like seeing like why things they don't like looking at rules and like they don't like looking at rules and like
Okay, so the more I'm hearing you talk, the more I think going back to what you said on do, I think your ooh sound might be a little bit closed off. I think your placement for that's a little bit high, maybe, or it's just the breath.
like they don't like looking at rules and like
You can hear on rules. Now it could be me. It could be just consonant sounds. It could be, for instance, rules has your dark L sound. So we have the oo followed by that L. And when you have that happen, again, you're going to get an ool, rules, rules. Okay. So one thing there is what I would say, they don't like rules. They don't like rules. So I say rules, rules. You can see how much tighter and closed off that is.
like they don't like looking at rules and like seeing like why things are the way that they are.
I mentioned earlier that when the placement tends to go higher or when the breath tends to close off, it can be very hard to adjust back to a more open, lower placement. And I think that's something we're seeing here a little bit.
Like they don't like looking at rules and like
You listen to how let's see how open that was.
Like they don't like looking at rules and like
looking at rules. And then what happens after?
Looking at rules and like seeing like why things are the way that they are. Like looking at rules and like seeing like why things are the way that
like seeing why. So like what I'm seeing is that after rules and then on seeing and then on why, we have again some of these kind of closed off sounds. So I think that by closing off on rules, it kind of impacted those next couple of words a little bit. So just kind of watching out for those moments. Like again, the way I would have read that,
like looking at rules and like seeing like why things are the
seeing a why, seeing why, rules, seeing why. So I'll just practice that phrase there. Rules, seeing why, trying to keep that open instead of doing like rules, seeing why, just opening everything up.
like looking at rules and like seeing like why things are the way that they are. And I just like frankly I don't get it because like it's so I don't know, like enlightening, like knowing like
I'm gonna talk pitch here. You are never going above this midpoint. You are always just talking about here and then also going lower. So sometimes you even go down to like here, but you never use those higher pitches. Can you imagine? Let's imagine that I do this whole live stream using just these pitches. It's like I'm cutting off half of my body because I'm never allowing myself to go higher. Whereas now, I'm also incorporating some higher pitches. I'm not just using lower ones. Can you hear the difference? Like if I just do this whole live stream like this versus now when I'm allowing myself to also go higher in addition to lower. Can you hear the difference? That's going to be the biggest piece of feedback I have for you is that you are using half of your pitches. So it's like trying to do everything in your life with just one hand. You're immediately cutting off half of what you could be doing. I'm going to end that feedback there, but I think that's going to be the most helpful thing is just immediately trying to introduce some high pitches because you're handicapping yourself. It sounds good. Things are open. You have some linking going on. You have some reductions. I think you can achieve a very natural sound, but it's in order, if your goal is to like get that like native like feel, we have to go higher. We have to. It's really not a choice. But Finn, thank you for sending that file. I'm sorry we didn't get to it last week, but thanks for letting us look at it now. All right, give me a moment just to situate myself once more. I'm glad we found it. I have done a horrible job with timestamps. Our last timestamp was at 38:07. Our current time is 1:24:12. Dang it. I messed up. Sorry if you're watching this on the replay. My immediate apologies. I tried. Okay. Let's see. I see 3 more pronunciation files I'm going to try to get through. All of them are like 20 seconds. You guys send me books, audiobooks, which is great. Okay. Before we get to that, though, just want to kind of highlight some things. If you guys are getting value from the things that we're talking about right now, and you're like, I want to get some help every day of the week, this is great. This is just once a week, and it's for like, depending on your file, like either 5 to 10 minutes of feedback. But what if you got 5 to 10 minutes of feedback for yourself every single day of the week? We have lots of different opportunities for you to do just that. So again, we have our YouTube videos, which are great. I understand, some people are feeling it's a recession and things. I totally get that. But that doesn't mean that getting personalized feedback for you has to be something that's going to break your bank. However, my goal is that for all of these programs, you're going to get so much more back than what you're going to get. Honestly, look, I have faith in my classes, man. The way that when we work together on pronunciation, we're going to be doing things that no other pronunciation class is going to give you. I'm just being honest. No one else is talking about breath, placement, pitch, and vowel sounds the way I am. And that's just a fact. We have a group on Telegram where you pay, again, once a month and you get pronunciation feedback every single day of the week. We have our Mission English program where you pay once a month and you get access to all of these classes. Each class is 30 minutes long. You can see they're spread out across different time zones. So for instance, if that 1:30 p.m. New York time works for you, we do that Monday, we do that Thursday, and we do that on Friday. If that 8 o'clock class New York time works well for you, we do that Monday, we do that Wednesday, we do that Thursday. We also have that 9:30 session on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Are you preparing for IELTS? Something that we've added. We've added writing classes. You get at least 5 writing classes per month, if not more. We do those on Saturdays and Sundays. If you can't attend any class live, all the classes are recorded and saved in the Facebook group. So you can ask me a question. Say, hey, Jeff, in the next class, can you go over this? Or I have an audio file. Can you check this in class? Or I have some writing. Can you look at this? You can send it outside of class. We'll do it, and then you can watch it on the replay for the feedback. So those are just programs that you're not going to find from any other pronunciation service out there. The other thing is that you're working directly with me, because I know a lot of other programs out there, you're working with random teachers who you've never heard of before, who are great, but not maybe who you want. Emmanuel makes a note that audio files. We send us books. Yeah, everyone sent audio books. Oh my gosh, I'm happy. I hope someone is making an audio book. Like, this is, if you guys are like serious, if you guys are serious about your English, the files you send me during like the Schwa and other things, they should be part of larger projects. Like, you guys should be making like blogs or audio books and things like that, and send me sections that you're not sure about. Let's do 2 things at once. Let's not just like improve your English. Let's like also help you achieve another goal. Let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You know what I mean? Not going to find this anywhere else. Facts. Who we got here? I'm talking a lot today. I need to make sure I drink. Who we got here?
In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna go to the forest to collect some kind of grains. I don't really know what exactly they're called in English, but let me just call them grains. And after that, I am planning to go play some PlayStation with my brother. So yeah, that's my plan for today.
What we playing on PlayStation? I was thinking about getting. I don't know if you guys are like into like city builders. I was thinking of getting like City Skylines. We have a Nintendo Switch. I was thinking of getting that, but then I keep telling myself I don't have time to play. I have like no time to play games. It sounds like you're going mushroom hunting too, which I know a lot of my Russian students and Ukrainian students like to do. Not a big thing in the U.S. going mushroom hunting, but happy foraging, Elchin. Happy foraging. Let's give you some quick pronunciation advice here.
In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna go to the forest to collect some kind of grains.
You're giving me a lot of rising intonation.
In a few minutes from now,
I'm
gonna go to the forest.
I'm gonna go for the forest.
Collect some kind of grains.
To collect some kind of grains. In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna go to the forest, collect some grains. That's basically what you're giving me, right? This is actually something I see a lot from Slavic language groups. A lot of rising intonation. In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna go to the forest.
In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna go to the forest.
So if I'm just showing you some alternatives, you don't have to use these, but just some other ways that you can say the same thing. Like in a few minutes from now, I'm going to go to the forest and I'm going to find some kind of grains. So again, just kind of mixing up the intonation patterns a little bit.
In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna.
So you're stressing now pretty heavy. In a few minutes from now, I probably would stress minutes, not now.
Gonna go to the.
We talked about this earlier again, average of time. Typically average of time like now when things are not used.
In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna go to the forest to collect some kind of grains.
The other thing too is you're giving me kind of same pitch pattern. In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna come to the forest, collect some kind of grains. In a few minutes from now, I'm gonna go to the forest and collect some kind of grains. Like just experiment with the range. Notice that every thought group there, instead I went down, down, down. Okay, so just kind of something to consider there.
Forest to collect some kind of grains. I don't really know.
Oh, that raising that higher pitch on kind of threw me off too.
Collect some kind of grains.
Some kind of grains versus some. I would expect kind of to drop more. Some kind of grains, like some kind of grains, something like that. I would definitely put kinda or kind of into Youglish and just kind of just study the patterns that native speakers are using with kinda, because this one to me feels a little bit less frequent.
I don't really know what exactly they're called in English. Some kind of grains. I don't really know what exactly they're called in English, but
I don't really know what exactly they're called in English. So again, we're getting back into that rising intonation pattern, right?
Some kind of grains. I don't really know what exactly they're called in English.
What exactly they're called
but let me just
in English, but so again, just a lot of this and then this and then this versus a lot of this and then this and then this. Like we want to mix it up more because again, we're kind of falling into that same pattern again.
Like some kind of grains. I don't really know what exact.
I don't really know. Another way to add contrast too is to mix up your stress patterns.
Some kind of grains. I don't really know what exactly they're called in.
Because right now you have these stressed words that are kind of falling towards the end of your thought groups.
In a few minutes from now,
stressing now.
I'm gonna go to the forest.
I'm gonna go to the forest. A few minutes from now, I'm gonna go to the forest.
Collect some kind of grains.
Let's collect some kind of grains. So what's happening here is that you're using the same pattern over again. We talked about pitch, but it's also stress because you're saying something, your stress is falling on the last word. You're saying something, your stress falling on the last word. You're saying something, stress falling on the last word.
I don't really know what exactly they're called in English.
What exactly they're called in English. So mix it up. So for instance, some kind of grains. I don't really know what exactly they're called in English. So now I'm stressing I, right? I don't really know what exactly they're called in English. So now I'm breaking up the pattern. There's things called, I don't know if you've ever heard like a pattern interrupt. So for instance, in videos, sometimes people actually send me a message like, Jeff, you have too many graphics in your videos. Stop it. Which I get it, but that's compared to a lot of other English channels that have like no graphics and stuff in their videos. But a pattern interrupt is basically where you shake things up. Like visually, I keep looking like this, and then suddenly, oh my gosh, I'm big. So now I just disrupted what you saw visually, right? And then we can go back or we can mix it. So like every time like we're kind of playing around with just the visuals, these are called pattern interrupts. And I think a similar thing happens in our speech. Like when we're talking, we want to have some form of pattern interrupts going on. Because otherwise, we're just trying to we just kind of again fall into the same patterns over and over and over again. So it wakes up your listener. It keeps what you're saying engaging. If anyone here is studying like public speaking and things like that, that's really a key component for like giving speeches.
But let me just call them grains.
Let me just
call them grains. Exactly, they're called in English, but let me just call them grains.
But let me just call them. We're kind of falling in the same. But let me just call them again. We're kind of using the same pitch. But let me just call them. That could have been an opportunity to go, hi, I don't know what they're called in English, but let me just call them grains. Again, just to show you an example of another alternative for that. I know, right? Manuel making a note that people are upset about the graphics in the videos. So I think it's every now and then. Like for every couple of videos, I might get like one thing. It's not super frequent, but some people saying that they disrupt it.
After that,
there we go. So So this is probably the first time you've given me a stress that was a little unexpected.
And after that, I am planning to go play some PlayStation with my brother. So
play some PlayStation with my brother. Now we're getting some really. I'm planning to go play some PlayStation with my brother.
Play some PlayStation with my brother.
Because I'm kind of curious about why the rising intonation here.
So yeah, that's my plan for today.
It's this. That's another phrase I would put into English. I would put in so yeah, so yeah, so yeah, or like so yeah. Like I think if you put that in English, one thing you're going to see is that the pitch pattern is shaken up a lot. For the sake of time, Elchin, I'm gonna pause here on the feedback, but I think you get the general idea. Watch out for overusing rising intonation because I think you're using it a lot. And again, it's something I see a lot from students from your language family. So just kind of be careful. And then the other thing is mixing up those stress patterns. Okay, let's not get too predictable. Let's mix things up. Let's not continuously stress the same word in the same position each time. Okay. Thank you so much, Elchin. Always good to see you. I'm glad that I know Elchin was taking a break for a minute, but it's great to see him back in the streams again. I do have to say, always happy to see Elchin. It's always exciting working with other language teachers too, because I know he's a teacher. Elchin does ask the good question. Breath placement is more or less okay. Yeah, but I think it's hard because that wasn't the big thing that was jumping out at me, which potentially could mean, yeah, they're okay. Yeah, I think for now, let's target less breath and placement for the moment, and let's worry about pitches. I think that would be fine. Still like be cognizant of like breath and placement, but I would really just be targeting pitches and stresses. I think that'd be fine. Let me see. Edward saying you think so about what? I forget what I said, Edward. Can you remind me? I've talked a lot today. I'm getting delirious. Let me see. Sycamore, can you sound monotonous and natural at the same time? 100%. 100%. I try to make note, like, for instance, I talked earlier about the presentation. I think it was for Finn's file. I mentioned that, imagine again, you were given a presentation. And what was the sense like about grammar? What do you guys think of grammar? There's tons of people that, even native speakers, I've been there. I've been in classes. Most people are just not good at presentations. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. But the minute like a PowerPoint turns on and someone's about to give a talk, what's your first reaction? Is your first reaction like, oh my gosh, another PowerPoint? How am I supposed to stay awake through this thing? Or are you excited to like listen to what the person's about to say? Edward asking about concerns about his pitch problem. Yeah, those are probably the things that come back to me because I think the patterns are becoming super, super predictable. Yeah. What are your thoughts though, Edward? Let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to debate. I like debates. I like being wrong. I like when people prove me wrong and stuff. I like being wrong. You learn so much more. I am like right now. I'm wrong right now. The question wasn't even aimed at me. I was wrong. I was the one. Okay. I have 2 files. I have about 15 minutes. I think I can do it. What do you guys think? Think I can do that? If that's cool, say cool in the chat. Let's see what we got. 21-minute file. I'm going to do a pattern interrupt just to mix up the visuals. Look at that. I just interrupted your patterns, folks. I just interrupted your patterns. You feel discombobulated. Let's see what we got here.
It was just, we were supposed to pick, I forget what it was, but I picked a municipal issue. And
Emmanuel's trying to embrace his higher pitches. That's why I was staring at this file. I was like, why am I looking at this for so long? It says I needed timestamps. Thank you so much to Emmanuel for bringing that up. And Google Docs didn't mess it up. Cool.
It was just, we were supposed to pick.
Emmanuel, just listen to this.
It was just, we were supposed to pick. It was just, we were supposed to pick.
Just listen to that. Just listen to that. You think this sounds like you, Emmanuel? I know you're very biased. Just listening to that part. Listen to that again.
It was just, we were supposed to pick.
Just listen to that. This sounds so different to me than, I would say, like 90 to 95% of the files. It sounds completely different. What'd you do differently? You went higher, but you maintained breath.
It was just,
Like it was sounds so different.
it was just, we were supposed to pick.
We were supposed to pick. We were supposed to pick. You know, so you're using some higher pitches, but you're still adding in some contrast. We were supposed to pick. Because I feel like, Emmanuel, the normal way you would have read that, like, it was just, we were supposed to pick. Like something like that. I like it. It wasn't easy. Man says it wasn't easy. No, this is good. We're starting to sound very, very different. Not that like I want you guys to sound like very, very different, but like this is like noticeably, in my opinion, more natural sounding than a lot of the other things you've said. And you already have a great accent, but this is very different for you.
It was just, we were supposed to pick.
Like if I just stopped there, I would, if I just had that and I didn't have your other pronunciation files, I don't know if I would have identified this as you.
It was just, we were supposed to pick. I forget what it was.
And then Emmanuel kind of comes back there. That sounds more like the Emmanuel. Not that sounds bad. I don't want to make that sound bad. But now I can hear you again.
Supposed to pick. I forget what it was.
Like, but that's fine. Good.
I forget what it was, but it was.
I think I forget what it was. Are you shadowing something here? If not, I probably would have just stressed. I forget what it was. Like I forget what it was because I probably would have stressed forget.
Forget what it was. But
I forget what it was. I forget what it was. Like I would have done it like that. I forget what it was.
It was. I picked a municipal issue.
Want to hear a municipal issue?
I picked a municipal issue.
Getting a little. I picked the municipal issue. Like we're getting just a little choppy there. Okay.
But it was. I picked a municipal issue.
I picked the municipal. Just very choppy. The consonant sounds are pretty heavy there. I picked the municipal issue.
I picked a municipal issue, and I kept handing in. I picked a municipal issue.
Municipal issue. So maybe again, I don't have the source audio. You're saying that this is from shadowing, okay? So I don't have the audio file that you were looking at, but I would look back and see how they linked municipal and issue with the dark L sound. I'm guessing they use the dark L, like municipal issue. I think the L sounds closing off a little bit.
And I kept.
But also, like I would listen to how they say and pay attention to pitch, pay attention to the and sound and things like that. The show can make a note about the earlier comment I made about presentations. Some people don't like presentations. I would argue most people don't like presentations. I think presentations are fun. I would go into presentations assuming no one is interested, and then I kind of make it a game. I'm like, how can I make people interested about this thing that I'm about to tell them? Because I just assume people aren't interested. And so then I get aggressive and I'm like, how can I make people interested? And so I enjoyed the challenge.
And I kept handing in this assignment I kept handing in this assignment.
For me, kept handing in gets a little bit lost there, especially on kept.
And I kept handing in this.
I kept handing in. Sometimes even keeping that T sound might just help a little bit there.
And I kept handing in this assignment.
So I would listen to how they did that in the shadowing again. I kept handing in
this assignment.
I'm wondering also too if assignment's a little overstressed. I kept handing in this assignment. Versus I kept handing in this assignment because that sounds a little high to me.
And I kept handing in this assignment to.
This is also, I may have a video on words ending with a short I sound. It's the one with I'm wearing the police helmet and like the ticket. I think. So just a little bit short I. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm hearing assignment versus assignment, so I use a little more short I. Hey to Justin. Been a while since we've seen you. Welcome back. Good to see you. kept hitting this assignment.
Professor over and over again. And they kept
I would pay over and over. I would listen to how they said over and over again, especially over again. I would pay attention to pitches there, because to me this sounds slightly off.
over and over again.
Over and over again versus over and over again. Maybe just a little lower on again.
And they kept sending it back to me with.
Kept sending it back to me. I would also look there because I'm kind of expecting the pitch to go lower. Kept sending it back to me. They kept sending it back to me.
Back to me with.
Back to me versus back to me. So I would just see, is the pitch on me right? Or is it actually lower? Maybe it's not. I don't know. I could be wrong. Let me know. But I'm wondering if it goes lower.
With red marks all over it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll get back on a horse and keep trying.
I want to hear trying.
Okay, whatever. I'll get back on a horse and keep trying. Okay, whatever. I'll get back on a horse and keep trying.
Trying. I'm wondering if you're going to have a clear separation between the vowels, like trying. I would listen to how they say the word trying.
Okay, whatever. I'll get back on a horse and keep trying.
Because I hear like trying.
It was
trying.
just.
So that's why I'm hearing trying versus trying. I'm wondering if they have more separation on that eyeing, linking it with a slight Y sound as well. For the sake of time, Manuel, I'm going to move on to our next file. Hope that makes sense for everything. So just some places I've identified where I'd like you to play back the original file and just compare, especially with regards to pitch and some sounds and things. But again, I really liked your intro. I thought the intro was really good. Really liked that part. Last file that I see, barring any surprises. Let's take a quick look at this.
But it was very wrong.
Okay. Shok is back with some more. Shok came with me on screen, so she gets 2 pieces of feedback.
But it was.
Oh, this was what I did was. Oh, wow. Okay, I did not. I'll be honest, Shok, I would not have gotten that. Would not have gotten that.
But it was.
What did? I'm hearing like what did, what versus like what I did. So I need more of that what I don't know, maybe like you were talking and the microphone cut it off. I'm just not even hearing that part. Let me know too. I don't know if this is taken from something. Oh, it's taken from Autumn in New York. Okay.
But it was very wrong.
Great dragging out. This is something that I don't think we heard from almost any file today. Lengthening. Very wrong. This is just great. Again, I mentioned earlier, one way you can use contrast isn't just through pitch. Another way is through speed. Just what I did was very wrong. Again, just adding length. That's great.
Very wrong.
Very wrong. Great. I really like that. Really like that. Again, another tool I think is underutilized in English. Drag things out.
And stupid.
Very wrong. And then what does she do? She changes. It's a new thought group. We're going to mix it up. She's going to go higher in pitch.
And stupid.
So notice the difference between very wrong and then the and stupid part.
Very wrong. And stupid.
Hear that pitch shift? So again, we're doing our pattern interrupt. It's like very wrong and stupid. It's like, it's just great. Adding more contrast. I really like what you did there.
I have no excuses. I
have no excuses. I like that contrast. I have no excuses, and we're going to drop down. I
did what I did.
I did what I did. Nice. So many great things here. You're doing a great job, Show. I did what I did. So notice that we have the same verb, right? Did, but they sound different, right?
I did what I did.
First one, did what I did. And then they're counterbalanced. We had the first did it earlier and then the last did later. And this is part of the writing and things like that, which is super helpful. But I like the way you read that. Don't say them exactly the same way. Change the pitch. I did what I did. I did what I did.
I think because.
And again, to drop in pitch. I did what I did. I think because, so again, we're just increasing the range. I did what I did. I think because, good.
Did what I did. I think because.
I do think on because we could maybe even open up a little more on the sound on the cuz.
I think because.
Because that back of your tongue's a little high. It's almost becoming an aw sound, because versus because. So just lower that back of your tongue just a little bit because it's a little high.
I was scared.
And I don't know if you're shy. I don't know how they said the scared part. The way you said it implies that there's more information coming versus that it's really the end of the sentence. Because I was scared. I was expecting a heavy fall intonation. I was scared. But instead we got
I was scared.
I was scared. So that sort of movement implies to your listener that there's more information to come. And maybe there is. I don't know. This is only an excerpt. But some great stuff on pitch there. Shok needs to teach the class on pitch. It's official. Okay, everyone. I do need to run and teach a class, but man, we've gotten through so many files today. And something I really can't stress enough is that, when we're looking at files, we are not giving feedback for you. We're giving feedback for everybody. So these points that we mentioned repeatedly came up in class. I hope you're able to apply them to your own speech and really start achieving the natural sound that you're looking for in American English pronunciation. This has been Fluent American with the Schwa Mill. Okay, where we help you craft your accent on Saturdays. If you thought that this feedback was helpful, we do feedback like this and much more every single day of the week through different programs. So, for instance, we have our Telegram group, where on Telegram you join for $5 for the month, and then you get pronunciation feedback every single day of the week. I post a challenge, you reply with audio, I give you feedback on your audio. We also have our Mission English program. It's a private group on Facebook where we save every single class. The live streams are twice a day across different time zones. So most likely you live in a place where the time zone actually might work out for you on one of these times. Okay. And each of these times we meet 3 times a week. So 1:30 p.m. on Monday, 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. also on Friday. We have an 8 o'clock session in the evening on Monday. We do that on Wednesday. We do that on Thursday. We have a 9:30 morning session on Tuesday, on Wednesday, and on Friday. We've also introduced writing classes for those of you preparing for IELTS or business emails and things like that, trying to get you the things you need to get your accent in your English to where you need it to be. Thanks to Shok. Thanks to Justin. Thanks to all of you guys for joining me here. I understand when it comes to American English, there's a million resources out there, a million resources when it comes to pronunciation. So the fact you spent a little bit of your Saturday with me, not just that Saturday, right? Saturday, your weekend time with me, I greatly appreciate it. You guys, thank you so much for your time. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon. And I will see you all later. Take care. Bye.